I'm looking at some of the dates for the rescued bank AGMs. We have Bank for September the 29th, PtI September the 28th. Now these dates are and they're actually like towards the end of the month, just 2 days away from September 30. Why? Why is there a particular reason why that's so?
You know, they all had that deadline. That September 30 is cast in stone already by the CBN. And don't forget that those three banks that their licenses were revoked, the CBN, in its wisdom, felt that within the 55 days left or thereabout, there was nothing these guys were going to do that will make them meet that deadline. So there was no reason waiting for them. Whether that is right or wrong is still being debated in the marketplace. So you can understand why that all of them seem to have a day in between, because of the time lag. They had no luxury of picking dates. They just had to stick within the time band.
Okay, now let's talk about these marriages that are going to be sealed on just before September 30th. Like a bank or banks like Access Bank and Intercontinental Bank, what kind of union are we going to see? The kind of bank that would emerge from this union?
Okay, let me say that Access Bank has been the most forthcoming so far in terms of information, so that by the time a shareholder gets the scheme document, a lot of things have been put in the marketplace already, so that there's little more he needs to find out from the document. The management of Access Bank has come out to tell you that they have the two banks use the same IT system. So integration
will be much easier.
Will not be a problem.
Okay.
It's just a question of bringing from this, adding to this. That is all. And then they have told you why they had their eye for Intercontinental. This one is a retail bank.
Has a wider branch network.
They had a wider branch network and all of this. And they've told you that the consolidated bank will play in the top 5. At least I have done an analysis of the whole system, and I've noticed that 2 of the outcomes of these marriages will immediately enter the top 5. And for me, if they are able to manage that process properly, entering the top 5 from the very beginning, I think that is the whole mix. The whole competition will change in the time to come.
Now, in terms of market share, what kind of market share would we be looking at for a merger like from Access Bank and Intercontinental Bank when they become one?
The market share, the market share for them is huge. If you look at the analysis of maybe in terms of deposits, the top 3, First Bank, Zenith, and UBA, are still there. They were unmoved. Now, the new Access enters 4, and the new EcoBank enters 5.
That's so, the EcoBank, ATI and Oceanica merger.
Yes.
Okay.
That means the previous number 4 and 5 have been pushed backwards. And then, if you look at it down the ladder too, you still have the other ones. You have 3 of them of the product of these marriages entering top 10 immediately, and that is a plus for the process.
So that means we are going to be seeing stronger banks. Are we going to be seeing stronger banks with a stronger capital base? I know most of them have reached met the 15% capital adequacy ratio.
Yes.
So are we going to see a higher capital ratio for these banks?
Yeah, we are going to see the environment will become even much more competitive in the days to come. It now becomes how capable the managers of these new entities are to manage their success properly. You know, the first recapitalization we did, the problem was fraught with a lot of problems.
Okay.
Now, some of the problems have to do with management of that success. Yes, too big to fail became an issue, and we can see how many of them indeed have failed. And
so you don't think we're going to have this issue now, because with these mergers, many of them will come, of course, will be bigger, will be stronger.
Many of them, yeah, will be bigger, will be stronger. But they've learned, or they must have learned a lesson or two from the past one.
Okay, you're talking about better risk management, corporate governance, good corporate governance.
In the last one, you had the issue of banks not dancing naked to their marriage partners. They did not tell the whole truth. And when they finally merged, that became issues in the boardroom. And that slowed down a lot of the processes. So that instead of being giants, they had their foot stuck in mud, and they couldn't fly as high as they ought to fly. And all these ones came to play out to haunt them later.
Okay, now just 2 more questions. We're running out of time. Now, for a bank or banks like Intercontinental, Finbank, Oceanic, when they eventually emerge and they'll have their systems integrated with their new core investors, are they also going to be delisted from the Nigerian Stock Exchange? We've seen 3 of them: AfriBank, the former banks, AfriBank, Bank PHB, and Spring Bank. Are they also going to be? It's a natural process. Okay. You saw the marriage between Dangote Cement and BCC. BCC was delisted. That is the same thing that is going to happen. It's not happening for the first time. Okay. The first marriages in 2005, a lot of those other banks were delisted from the market. So this kind of delisting is not the type of like AfriBank, Bank PHB and Co. Okay. Because that one you had about 32 billion. Lost, young value of the, yes. This one is a consolidated, the value of these banks are consolidated into the those other ones they are merging with. Okay. Now, on the final note, analysts have said that given the present developments, the shareholders' meetings, the court orders, and all of that, that these banks or this whole banking crisis or banking reforms that started in 2009, that we can finally put it behind us and these banks can finally move forward. Is this going to mark the end of the banking crisis that we had from 2009? As soon as these banks, as soon as the shareholders, hoping that they would approve these individual deals. If these deals are approved, can we now safely say that, yes, we can put all of this behind us? Yes and no. Yes, because at least all of this will leave the scene. But no, because new challenges will come. New challenges for the operators, for the regulators, and indeed for every stakeholder in the whole process. Are you talking about life-threatening? When I say life-threatening, the fact that putting the life of this or the existence of these banks will be put at risk? It depends on how they are managed. It depends on how they are regulated. Okay. If the regulators go to sleep thinking that all is over, like happened in the past, we will get back to this sorry past. But I don't pray, and I sincerely hope that this phase we are crossing now, we will not go back to it. But it always comes. It depends on how it is managed and how prepared we are. If we have it at the back of our minds that it will come, then you won't totally go to sleep. You will always be on the watch to make sure that you are not beaten to it at any point in time. Okay, so basically the banks are almost at the safe harbor, as you said at the beginning of this year. Yes, they are almost at the safe harbor. Like the CBN Deputy Governor said recently, it is in the hands of the shareholders now. Okay. Deal or no deal.